Hello once again, I'm Jim Dukart with T&D How Videos. Today we will watch a restored customer connection. The work is being performed by Kansas City Power and Light, and this video is sponsored by Burns and McDonnell. Now to start with, this is the house that we are restoring a connection to. You see the temporary line that is strung across, and the new triplex secondary that's going to be installed is laying on the ground. And there's the lineman at the back, Travis, who is going to be climbing the pole. First, let's start back on the house where our lineman Brian is actually preparing the new cables for connection into the weatherhead on the house. He's taking off the old connections first. And now he's down at the meter box, no meter of course, taking out the temporary connections. And now back up on the house, just temporarily placing the new triplex secondary for connection. And while Brian is working up on the house, we see Travis now climbing the pole, and he's actually going to drop down a rope assembly that they're going to use to remove the old line and pull up the new line, new service. Here's the view from Travis's point of view. I'll let him tell you what he's looking for.
Look things over. Look at the cutout, make sure it's not cracked. Doesn't look like it's going to fall apart on us. Make sure the tank ground is on the transformer. Make sure we don't see any obvious hazards. Make sure that the coils are not laying on the rack, otherwise you're going to have a hot rack.
Now Travis is going to install a line blanket to protect himself from any incidental contact. He's going to go ahead and disconnect the existing or temporary connections to the wire. He's going to pull that temporary wire back out of the way, and he will secure it to the rope assembly that we saw him drop down earlier. Now they're going to actually release the temporary old line from the distribution pole and let it down to the ground. Now next, Travis is going to remove the bolt clamps, the bolties, from the old line. And he's going to actually use the back of his knife here, this is interesting, to scrape away any buildup on the wire so he has a clean connection point for his new connections. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about it here too.
I'll make sure while I'm touching one of these hot legs that I'm not touching anything that's grounded, such as the neutral or the pole ground. I don't want to get in series with the ground.
Next, Travis is going to actually install a couple of clamps here that will be used to pull the new wire up, a series of connections. And now, using help from Brian, who is now the ground man, they're pulling the new wire up to make the new attachments. But notice we run into a problem here. The tree is so overgrown that they have to kind of work, he has to work with his ground man to bring it through. It's going to come up here. I think he's got a little foliage with it. So he's going to bring that new line up and now use what's called a chicken catcher to connect it. And now he can start to form his new connections here. He's going to start with the neutral. He can use a bolty to make that connection to the neutral. Tighten that down, and he's going to tape it all up. Keep it in place. And now he can start to begin to form the wires for his hot leg connections, but he can't do them yet. You see he's peeling off cable here for the future connection. Now the reason Travis can't make those hot leg connections is first we have to go back to the house, and Brian is now making the connections to the weatherhead, the new connections to the weatherhead on the house. He's going to start with the neutral, do all three wires, and he's going to take his time to make sure they're secure and tape them up real well. And then he's going to signal back to Travis on the pole.
He just told me he's good to.
And now you hear Travis saying that he's ready to go. So he's going to make his hot leg connections with the bolties here. Tape them all up. take away the line blanket. And now here you see from the pole following the new triplex wire all the way back along, and you'll see it come here to the house, and we will zoom out and pan down. You see the weatherhead there with its new connections, and there's the new meter. And with that, you have seen our T&D How video on a restored customer connection. The work was performed by Kansas City Power and Light, and this video was sponsored by Burns and McDonnell. I am Jim Dukart with T&D How Videos. Thank you for watching.